Saru Brierley was born in Ganesh Talai, a suburb in the small city of Khandwa in west-central India. He lived with his mother Kamla, his brothers Guddu and Kallu, and his sister Shekila. When he was a child, his father abandoned the family in extreme poverty, and his mother began working by carrying stones. From the earliest years of his life, Saru had to beg for food and money for his family. Saru's troubled story began when he was only 5 years old. Driven by a desire to help his older brother Guddu, he managed to convince him to go to work together. Unfortunately, his tender age did not allow him to stay awake during the journey, so his brother let him rest on a bench in the station, telling him he would be back soon. However, Saru woke up alone and, in the throes of fear, boarded a train that, unbeknownst to him, would take him to Calcutta. After more than 28 hours traveling in an old and completely empty carriage, Saru arrived in Calcutta. In this huge city, he experienced many vicissitudes. One day, he met a young boy who took him to the police officers, who took Saru to Lilua, a youth detention center, and then to Navajivan, an orphanage. He stayed there for a period, hoping that they would be able to find his family, but this did not happen. The turning point in his life came when the Brierleys, an Australian couple, decided to adopt him. In Australia, his new life with his new family began. However, the desire to find his origins and his family, a feeling that had never left him, awoke in Saru. With the help of all his friends, Saru began his research by digging deep into his memory, and thanks to Google Earth, his life changed. The satellite images and the memories engraved in his memory allowed Saru to find Ganesh Talai, and what happened next was a set of events and emotions that completely changed Saru's life. There are numerous differences between the book and the film. In the latter, the figure of the elder brother Kallu does not appear, and the father is never mentioned by any of the family members. Another difference concerns the man who brought Saru in his hut, pretending to help him. In the film, a woman offers help to Saru and then tries to entrust him to a disreputable person. Another major difference regards Saru's stay in the detention center, a key passage that is not shown in the film, like many other vicissitudes that Saru experienced in the city of Calcutta. Another substantial lack in the film concerns the very important role played by Khandwa's Facebook group in helping Saru to recognize his town through some landmarks. In the film, these discoveries are only made thanks to Google Earth. The themes that the author wrote about are many and very profound. The first theme is about family, the safe haven of every person. For Saru, both his Indian and Australian families were the refuge to which he returned every night and to which he always clung tightly for fear of losing them again. Moreover, despite the abandonment of his father, Saru, once an adult, always wanted to meet him and be able to forgive him. A very important issue that Saru Brierley wanted to highlight in this book concerns the situation of orphaned Indian children who become victims of child exploitation for sexual and labor purposes. They are the so-called invisible children, living in gangs, in stations, or in the dusty alleys of cities. Many children are orphans, others have been abandoned, victims of violence, abuse, or extreme poverty. They often live on the streets or in slums, on the margins of society. They are forced to suffer abuse and run away to survive. Many of them rummage in rubbish dumps and collect rubbish to sell by the pound. The literary importance of this book is due to this theme, as the author has succeeded in giving paramount importance to a problem that seems to be ignored by the entire world. The importance of faith is significant in the course of our lives. For Saru, faith played a fundamental role. At first, he did not seem to turn on his side, given what happened to him. Later, however, faith was important. If he had not met the young beggar, he would have never gone to the police station, to Lillois and to Navajivan, and would not have been adopted by the Bradleys. Similarly, if his friends had not introduced him to Google Earth, probably he would have never been able to find his home, given the few memories he had. Moreover, his mother never left Ganeshtalai in the hope that Saru would return. I decided to tell this story because I find it very beautiful, emotional, and above all, it deals with some serious issues. What struck me the most was the strength with which the author faced his life and everything that happened to him. He never gave up, hoping that everything could work, and he never stopped believing in the goodness of mankind, despite he had numerous experiences that could have made him believe otherwise. I was very touched by his story of a child lost in the streets of Calcutta because I visited India and I saw with my eyes what life is like for many Indian people and especially for Indian children who are forced to beg near the main stations asking for food or money to survive to another long and exhausting day. Many children are not registered and are mostly wanderers. We need these estimates concerning the situation of Indian children to realize the magnitude of the problem. My family and I, as much as we could, tried to help these children by giving them some money and the meals that we received on the train because they needed it much more than we did.